All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Uche and Joku Sneaker Principal. Right now we're live. It's Wednesday, 10 p.m. It's time for the Ivy League Hoodrats. Uche and Joku with my brother Archie Tyson. It's about to get real right now. How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, it's that time of week, man. You know, I'm putting one foot in front of another, 10 toes down in the sand, trying to continue moving forward, man. Only
It's like
thing I
that,
can do.
bro. It's about to be Thanksgiving. It's like that already for you, bro.
We talked about safety the other week, right?
That's true.
No safe spaces, no time off. Then 10 people just get, or 6 people just get killed at Walmart in Virginia last night.
Yeah, we gotta
Uh,
talk about that. I like
tra-
honestly, I
Tragic.
heard about that and I just stopped. I didn't know what to think or to even say because at this point in time, it's too much. It's too much. But we're gonna talk about that for sure because we can't be in space and not talk about that. It would be irresponsible. So but before we even get into that, I want to welcome all our viewers on Twitter, all our viewers on actually Facebook first of all, and then let me check on actually Facebook is on. Let's check on LinkedIn. I want to make sure everybody's here on LinkedIn. All right, we got folks on LinkedIn right now, and I know for a fact on YouTube we're on and popping. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. It is 10 p.m. It's that time. For the next hour, we're going to be talking about whatever we want to talk about. And yeah. So, with that being said, I'm here with my brother Archie Tyson. And before we even get on those topics, I got to talk about one thing right now because right now, so Archie, this is unexpected. I'm going to tell you this right now. I remember a few years back us being roommates, and you talked to me about Memphis sneakers and railroad tracks. Remember that?
Memphis sneakers and railroad tracks. I don't remember that conversation. But
I
I don't
remember
remember a lot of
clearly.
conversation.
I
But it
remember
sounds
clearly.
like a conversation I would have had.
You
Jog
told me
jog
about
my memory.
how some brothers out there with railroad tracks on the shipments of sneakers.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
we're not
Uh
incriminating nobody. We're not incriminating
right.
nobody. It was a fairy tale. You would tell me once upon
Hy-
a time,
hy-
long ago,
hypothetically,
hypothetically.
long ago in a distant land called Memphis, Tennessee, people used to jack the train that had sneakers that everyone loves these days. John Man. Right. I'm talking about this. This is before like internet where you can order all the wildest
Long
colors
ago,
you want and kids can get it.
hypothetically.
Long ago when so
So I'm gonna tell you this. So it's funny because I'm a sneakerhead. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a sneakerhead. You be rocking Jordans with your suits and all that stuff. So I just got the hold bro. I'm gonna show you right now. Hold up. I got to get
don't
up and
do it.
walk over here.
Don't do it. Don't feed my habit, man. Don't feed my habit because I know it's some heat that's coming. This yeah. Don't feed my habit. Now I gotta go do something ridiculous. We're getting some feedback, big bro. You must have not. Hope I still don't have your audio.
You got
Oh, there you go.
oh, here
You-
we go.
you're back. You got excited with Jordans and knocked. Ooh.
You see that right
I was
there?
about. I was
Can you see
about
that
to
right
do it
there?
too, man.
So these right here, right here. So see, this is the topic of the first portion of our conversation. So I gotta tell you this, bro. So yesterday or the day before, no, it was yesterday. I got a package in the mail. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I got the box. I looked at it. I was like, it's Nike. What the hell is going on here? And right here, I opened the box. Is what I got right here. I spent a lot of money with Nike. I spent a lot of money with Nike. And apparently, these come out December 10th.
Yeah, those ain't out yet.
I got them right
I
now
have. Yeah.
from Nike. What's interesting was that when I got these, I was like, yo, I got to do some research. Like, because I'll be honest with you, since the pandemic, I haven't really been that deep into these sneakers right now because I've been like about my family, making sure we're good. So this is a we call these when it's not necessary, but it's really more of a splurge. That's this right here.
Okay.
So I had to do my research, and I was reading an article about Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
and how some brothers in okay, let me not say brothers, some people in Memphis, Tennessee, had a hijacking of a shipment, and all of a sudden these are all up on the internet for sale right now. I got mine from Nike, so I know for a fact I'm good. I got this from Nike,
Yeah.
but when I read this article, I was like, wait a minute. Back in about 2012, 2013, I remember a brother of mine telling me stories about back in the days in Memphis when it comes to sneakers and train
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah. The Nike train. I mean, they still have a huge warehouse in the Fraser community in north of Memphis. And Memphis is a big distribution hub. That's why FedEx's headquarters is there. You can get to everywhere in the country in 10 hours, under 10 hours, right? Everywhere in the midsection of the country. So, but
I got to
yeah,
throw something real quick. I got to throw something. I've been watching BMF. I've been watching BMF,
uh-huh.
50s, you know what I'm saying? So I know there's a link there too. So that's for another conversation, but
That's a
I pay
whole
attention.
different.
I pay attention. Somebody told me about Memphis and it being a central hub. So I was watching BMF. I was like, Memphis. At some point in time, it's going to come up in the show, but it's another conversation. But go ahead.
I mean, it's a central hub of a lot. Like when you can get to everywhere. I mean, New Orleans, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Little Rock, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Toledo. I mean, Kansas City. Every major city in the midsection of the country, stretching all the way up to Baltimore. I mean, you can strike within 10, 11 hours driving, let alone flying. But that's a whole different thing. But yeah, man, those sneakers, whoa. It got so bad in Memphis with the hot sneakers from off the train that literally I remember the police were, if you had the wrong color Jordans on, the Jordans on before they came out. So if those shoes, if those red and white, I think that's varsity red you got, if you had those on today and they didn't come out to the 10th, it wasn't no internet like to go and just like, oh, like let me go to this side, let me go. Like literally the police was just taking shoes off of people's feet. A whole high
Wow.
school, a whole high school basketball team. I'm not gonna call the name of the high school. They were wearing the Penny Hardaway foam posits in a color before they came out. They stopped those folks at halftime, took the whole team shoes. Right?
Are you
We it was
serious?
it, it was. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. They were losing too much money,
Wait,
man. I'm
hold on, hold
talking
on, hold on,
about
hold on. Hold on. During a basketball game, halftime, they just stopped the game and
halftime. They took the basketball players' shoes, so they better had some practice shoes or something like that in their gym bag because those shoes were hot. Those shoes were hot as a firecracker. They weren't supposed to be out for another 3 weeks. Back
damn.
then that's when everything was in the East Bay catalog. East Bay
Oh,
catalog where you
wow.
get like
East
certain
Bay.
catalog. Yeah, wow. East Bay kids these days don't understand. Like,
They don't know
so
about
it ain't like
catalogs.
they don't get about like what it was like to be the crew, that dude or that crew that had new J's on, all matching the first day of school or coming back from a break. If you was the first crew that arrived on the scene or the first dude that arrived on the scene, you were a god for a few hours or a day, or at least until somebody else could get with you. Do you know what it's like to be a god? If you're from the hood, like a god, man, it's like you can't describe that. I'm talking about we coming from socioeconomically depressed and violent neighborhood with scarce resources and poverty drive people to make some incredibly complex decisions that often can lead them down very illegal, violent, and mean paths. And I know we want to blame people in society for poverty being a issue, but coming from a place where you can get it over $2 in a dice game, or five people can get mowed down for annihilator, a 5 cent piece of candy,
Damn.
right? Where hey, cables on, cables off. America Online, when you got the little CD, had internet for a while and didn't have it for a while. Lights on, lights off. So we all coming from a place like that, and to get a pair of sneakers and be elevated to God status, like you Puff Daddy on TV, like to that, like you had to duck walk all the way to school, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you would take the shoes off and carry them to not crease them, because and it's not even just wrapped up in the shoes. It's just that feeling. When I talked about breathing last week, or I talked about safe spaces, for a minute, if you felt like a god, you were the man. Like it was a temporary panacea. It was a cure all. If
Facts.
only for a few minutes, a few fleeting moments, everything felt okay in your life because you were the shit. You were it. And that feeling there, you don't ever like people say, why you got gray in your beard and you got to have a new pair of J's? It's that feeling don't mean, you know what I'm talking about. In Inglewood, now y'all can wear them holy bloody red shoes in Inglewood, but you could wear them in my neighborhood. Could wear them in my neighborhood. I got a pair of weird like 82s, them pale leather blue with the Carolina blue trim on it in the closet right now. Yeah, that's more like my neighborhood I could wear, but
Yeah, it's
you
messed up
you
because
couldn't.
I've had quite a few pairs of Carolina Blues. Not rocking them in Inglewood, bro. Not bro. Here in New York, I'm gonna rock them every day, but in Inglewood,
Oh
no, I'm
yeah,
not doing that. That's
oh yeah,
that's a nonsensical, self-imposed death threat.
yeah. Right. Why put yourself, like, even if you're a civilian, why put yourself in a harmful type of position? But I mean, and again, I just say like that's the reason grown men like Jay. I said like a formal, but when I was a principal of the school, like we would have dress down day, and on Friday, because I wanted the kids that had done a great job to be able to come in with their new J's or their phone posits, they call them dope boys, or their Yeezys or whatever, right? Because I wanted them to have that feeling. And I remember my boss was like, "Oh, we shouldn't have, we want the kids in the shirt and ties all the time, and that, with all that tater chip up their ass, black excellence politics crap, like a degree from Princeton is gonna make you immune to all of the social woes that plague our society around race. Like your degree is gonna shield you from that. Right now,
Mm,
like the reason I wear my Jordans with my suits is because it doesn't matter how many degrees I pile up or how articulate I can stand up and speak and talk, and what my cocoa skin is gonna matter at the end of the day. And a part of my culture that matters to me is a crispy pair of J's and that feeling that goes along with it. And there's nothing like it for me. It's not that toes in the sand feeling that you were talking about last week. It's something different, but just that crispy pair of J's, to be a god, to be the richest man of all time, to know every lady in the room wants you, right? To be the like
They
like you
want
just superior.
you.
You're superior in every way to everybody until somebody can come and get with you. But for a few moments, you was it. Or if your crew had it, you were it. And I love that feeling. I don't apologize for it at all. I don't apologize for my culture at all. If you're a hood booger like me, you're an Ivy League hood rat, and some a crispy pair of J's means something to you, enjoy it. Don't get shot over it. You don't do nothing illegal over it. But yeah, back in the day, yeah, boy, that train. A certain set of projects used to be right there by the train where some people used to go and get their work. And I always said, like, why go to war with people when you can just pay them off in Jordans and everybody be happy? You know what I'm saying? You just give them pairs that's too small to make fun of them, so they got their girl running around. Uh, got their girl running around in too small Jordans, toes making impressions in the pair of leather there. But and like we laughing along, got to make a joke out of it. But like, we didn't go to war with people. People didn't go to war with us. And back in the day, people could talk it out a little bit instead of shooting that. These days people just want to pick up guns, and people got to get back to talking it out and figuring out solutions and how to coexist.
What's interesting is for me is the whole notion of Jordans. And okay, listen. There's some people out there who are gonna be like, yo, Nike is owned by people of a particular cultural background, and if we're
Yeah,
buying Jordans, we're putting money into their coffers and all that stuff. Okay, that's fine. I get it.
yeah,
But one thing I gotta say, as West African, Nigerian, Igbo, is that one thing I can tell you about West Africans. I don't know about nobody else. I know about West Africans. We're like peacocks. We're peacocks. We gotta show
oh yeah,
you what we got. If you
yeah,
if you're listening right now, if you ever known it, if you've ever known a Yoruba man or Yoruba woman, an Igbo man or Igbo woman, even Hausa man or woman, at the end of the day, we gotta let you know what we got. You know what I'm saying? What we wearing, there's something about what we're wearing that's gonna let you know that we here. And it has nothing
yeah,
to do with Europe. It has nothing to do with Europe. It has nothing to do with European culture. It's African culture. We are all about making sure you see us. It's part of our identity. You see us. So this, like I
oh
say
yeah,
right now, even me myself, I'm rocking a black T-shirt. I got my chain tucked in, but I might do something like this to let you know that I'm here. It's built into our DNA. Because if we created by God and God is in us, we gotta show our God liking, our godness. It's just part of who we are. So it's interesting about when I think about sneakers. Um, Listen, I don't walk out the house without thinking about what's on my feet. I just don't. I don't know. Today I went out. I met with my homeboy. I had a pair of Niger Prestos. I had a pair of Prestos, and the Prestos are green and white, and they're called Niger because I'm Nigerian, and you know what I'm saying. And these were made out of Nigerians, and these are Nikes. I had to put those on my feet because I had some green on. So being in that space is something that's very, very necessary for us. But it's not about Western culture. It's about who we are. We shine, whether we are in peace or in war. We're always shining. So, so people have this tendency of thinking about black folks of always being show-offs. We're not being show-offs. It's just part of our. I don't even know how to put it. I
but
want to say
no,
heritage, but it's not heritage. But please,
no,
bro, help me out.
I
Help me
mean,
out. Help me out here.
so I hear what you're saying. That's just woven into the fabric of that West African DNA. And I think where you pass that through transatlantic slave trade, 400 years, and mixing 53,000 different cultures and making a stew of African Americans and folks over here having to figure out some type of culture from out of like a mess. Certainly, I think a part of that black culture within American context is the uh, showiness, and I got to make sure I got something, make sure I'm here, make sure I arrive, right? Especially if folks are coming out of and I think the difference is, well, I don't want to say anybody that would be like on this side of the pond would come out of a situation of wealth and economic prosperity, because everyone's story essentially started in the same way and went the same way with history, and some people were able to get a couple more bucks. But my larger thing is, we got to show you something and show you what I got, because I might not have it long, and I might not be here long.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
Like, if we're living in a country where we don't have any safe spaces, and we're talking about 2022. Well, imagine back in 1922 the amount of safe spaces that were had. I gotta get me a Cadillac now, because I don't know whether the Klan or the U.S. Army, in the case of Black Wall Street in
Black Wall
Tulsa,
Street. Facts. Facts.
are gonna burn me down. I don't know if I'm gonna lose my property by eminent domain to clear way for Central Park, right? I don't know if I'm gonna be shot down by a rival gang member. I don't know if I'm gonna be shot down by the police. I don't know if I'm gonna die of something that in the water that's in the hood. So I gotta shine. I have to shine right now. I gotta wear every single chain, even when I'm in the house, because I started from the bottom. Now I'm here, right? So I think there's an undercurrent of that West African culture of show me, um, that's definitely there, but I think it was just wrapped in this um, soiled cloth of pain that, like, nah, I want you to make sure you like, I always say, like, you ever been with rich white people, and like they'll just have whatever on. Like, I'm talking about tore up Pumas, old pair of jeans. I've been on the elevator in New York City with like really, really rich white people, and it's just like, oh, it don't matter to them because I'm rich, and whatever. I told you about the time I went to Fela, right? This is great. I was dealing with a young lady, beautiful young lady. I'm married now, but beautiful, beautiful young lady. Great memories. She was from a country, West African. I'm not gonna call the country because I don't want to identify it. I don't believe in snitching on past lovers, but she was West African, and um, I guess her father, somebody knew the ambassador, right, and to that country, and that the ambassador had these amazing seats to Fela, and she invited me, and I said, okay, cool, but I didn't have time to run home, go get dressed. This was kind of last minute. Uh, I was trying to, come see her because she knew what she was doing, in in other departments. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go see her. So yeah, yeah. But I'm not dressed for like a Broadway, because I want to be like Peacock. I want to be clean. I'm thinking about stopping
Facts.
by the store, picking up a suit or something off the rack, and just doing what I got to do. She was like, no, just come on, come on. It's not going to matter. So I get there, and everybody is like, oh my god, dressed to the nines and all. I mean, like, how,
Impeccable.
and
This is
for folks
impeccable.
that don't know Fela, like, like, it's gonna attract black people of all kinds with money that comes. So wonderful. What? So we have like the ambassadors tickets. These are front row, center two seats.
So everybody
So
see.
at first I'm like, oh, you trying to set me up. And then when I got in the seats, everybody was like, because I wasn't dressed to the nines, and we rolled up in there just a little bit late, just right before the show started. We rolled up in there a little bit late, like we can just do that. Oh man, they was like, these Negroes with a capital N are rich. They are rich, rich. Do you see this Negro? He got the nerve to come in here in just t-shirt, jeans, and some regular old sneakers, and just he don't need no jury because I got the I got the front row center seats for Friday night to a hot ass play on Broadway. I don't like the other black people are definitely trying to get to go and see. I don't need to show anything off just because you're gonna know. Like I realized then when you got that kind of money, you don't you don't even have to worry about Peacock because people know. People
They
know.
pe-
But yeah, it was an
yeah,
interesting
and
night.
yeah, mentally they peacock for you.
Oh, they Peacock for me. Like she was upset because do you know the women in the room? Oh my God. Oh, I was on everyone's radar because they like it was like a Frank Lucas situation. It was like, gold digging chicks out there like, who is that? We've never seen him. Who is he? Like he walked in here late. Like it's nothing. And like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was I got look, you remember when a certain someone came anyway, nope, we're not gonna go down that path.
Oh, hold on. So, remind me real quick without details.
Later on with that I was at a fashion show with that person, and then we had a certain someone who came to live with us that was
Okay.
drop dead gorgeous, and
Okay, let's stop
for an
right there. Let's stop right
internship.
there. Let's stop right there. Let's not.
Yeah,
This person is
let's not. Yeah,
on a federal level of situations right now.
yeah. That's what I said. Like, I was going to change the topic.
You know what's interesting is this is about. Let's talk about peacocking. And it's a dope topic because people they underestimate that because in the animal kingdom, birds, different even lions don't even have to try. The bigger your mane,
Yeah,
the more recognition you receive. There's certain birds who will, and it's funny because people don't realize the most beautiful peacocks are not females; they're
and males.
males because they have the plumage of all the feathers and everything else. And at the end of the day, there's something. It's funny because now in today's terms, we call it being toxic. We call it being you are fully yourself. You're egotistical. But however, that's how we were created by God or whoever you want to call it. But I say God, that men had to be able to exhibit their prowess. It's just part of the natural order of things. So it's interesting because I ask myself, like listen, like you do the same thing that I do. I will rock a suit with a pair of J's. Not even a question. Not even a question. But then I've been called cocky. I've been called like inconsiderate. I've been called like anti the social order of things. But my thing is this: like, I'm not being anti. I'm just being me. I have to let people know that I'm here. So, what are your thoughts about that? Because it's
That's you.
interesting
That's
because
you.
a lot of young people suffer. They struggle with that. They struggle with trying to
That,
be able to express themselves, especially men.
that that's you. I lean into it. You're anti. Yeah, I am. You're cocky and arrogant. Yep, I'm that too. You're narcissistic. Oh, yeah, that too. You can add that to the list, right? I lean into it. The thing I say is okay, right? If I'm wearing a pair of Oxfords or Bros, and for you folks that don't know the difference, right? Probably shouldn't be in the conversation. Right?
Damn, you gonna do them like that, bro?
I'm gonna do you like that, right? Because at the end of the day, you have the most powerful tool, young, old, layman, educated, like you have to the learned and to the ignorant. You have the most powerful tool in the history of mankind at your disposal every day. So you can Google in the time before I finish my tirade, like the difference between Oxfords and Bros, right? You can literally do it. It's not like you had to go even find a book. So anybody lazy asses that don't actually self-educate themselves, you can figure out how to put together or do anything on YouTube. Hell, you remember in a certain professor's class where we had to learn stats at Columbia because we didn't know it. He said you better go on YouTube and figure it out. You're gonna fail the class. Guess what we did? We didn't cry about it. Go to the dean, write letters, and petition. We went on YouTube, and figured it out.
And I'll tell you,
Right?
it was the same summer that I learned how to tie a bow tie on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. So powerful tool. People can figure stuff out. Now I forgot my original point after I went on my tirade there.
We were talking about peacocking and
S-
sneakers and just the
So oh
overall.
yeah, whether I conform to. So I'm of the belief that again I've proved it time and time again. It doesn't matter what I have on. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter whether I choose to wear Oxfords, Brogues, or Jordans. My cocoa skin, my melanin, my darkness, my kinky. I don't have it. I'm bald headed, so my kinky beard, the bass of my voice, all of that seems to lead the way, right? It doesn't matter whether I'm wearing Tom Ford and Brooks Brothers and have on a beautiful pair of brogues and a beautiful leather briefcase, and it don't matter how much I spend on that or whether it's from Amazon Essentials. That monkey grip that I described on the purse, right? I got a comment from a friend. They said I'm supposed to drop the Kung Fu Monkey Grip part, because everybody's so extra sensitive these days about everything. Like, come on, man. Like, everyone's sensitive about everything these days. It's like when you go somewhere and someone tells you, oh, you introduce your wife, and then they say, oh, your partner, your spouse. No, I said my wife. I know I can use an alternative for that if I want to. You can do what you want to, but that is my wife. I am her husband, right? That's how we identify. You're disrespecting me, trying to impose, you're trying to make me conform to something. Like, I'll identify you as however you want to be identified, but then you need to identify me as how I want to be identified, right?
Facts.
But I know that my cocoa skin leads the way. So I said at a certain point in time, I just don't care, right? If I have on Oxfords, if I have on some bros, if I have on some loafers, great, right? But you're still going to monkey grip you monkey grip your purse. You're still going again. I've been in a suit and had people run from me, and I've been in a hoodie and had people run from me, right? On the street in liberal ass New York City, as well as in other parts of the country where people think it's supposed to be more racist, but it ain't, because New York City is racist as hell too, right? And it's happened to me on the campuses of Ivy League schools because I've been to multiple ones. So again, at the end of the day, you can subscribe to, I need to try and be as European as possible or whatever, suburban as possible or as corporate as possible. And like, you can suppress everything about yourself to the point where you literally, oh, I'm going to have hot sauce in my pocket and I'm going to dabble. I'm scared to dabble at lunch. Uh, I'm going to put it on my desk so you know where I stand, right? You'll be that same black executive that's terrified to get black and Latino ed tech folks into the presidential suite at the conference, but you have the power to do so. But you're terrified that it might be too many black and brown faces in the room, and you're terrified that they might be smarter than you. So you hold on to your little power, and then when another black executive, i.e., me, come along and bring them upstairs and dap them up and let them know you need to go have these conversations because movers and shakers are in the room, right? I can't get the deal done for you, but I can get you in the presidential suite and I can dap you up so people will know you're here with me, right? Um, Again, your black and brown skin is going to matter, right? if you can play that game of let me try and not be myself, it's gonna matter. Or you can just try and be yourself, not your whole self. Black folks, don't be your whole black ass self. Don't be
Don't show your
your
ass now.
whole black ass self at work, in the mall, and everywhere else. Let me be clear on that. Not your whole black ass self. There are certain spaces that are, and this is gonna sound controversial, that are black spaces that that that's where your whole black ass needs to be. In the same way, if black person, if you ever found yourself in a space that is like a white space, right? You know it's a white space. It's not white only. It's not that anyone there is mean. It's not that anyone there is conservative. It's not that anyone there is necessarily racist in that regard. It's just a white space, right? Or a Korean space, or a Mexican space, or Puerto Rican space. There are those
And
spaces and
sometimes
pockets.
it might be an African space.
Right, it'll be no, it's not even an African space. I don't even know what the hell that is. It's a Nigerian space, or a
Thank you.
Ghanaian space, or it's just like literally, or it could be an Igbo place, right? Like there are places, I do believe people's cultures. There are places that again, there's a Southern place. Sometimes I'm talking to a country white boy from down south, and we up here where people don't know how to barbecue. They think they know how to barbecue, and we are very different. But in terms of our connection to food, or maybe hunting, or doing some of the things we did on like there's a bond. It's strange, but it's a space that's ours,
Can
right?
can
As a
can I
biscuit and
volunteer some?
gravy eating southerner.
Can I volunteer some a little story real quick? I remember the first time I went down south, I was in high school, and we were in Tennessee, and Tennessee is a bit. But listen, this was my first time. That was the furthest south I've ever been in my life. I was in high school, went to Tennessee, and our chaperone told us we were gonna go to a southern restaurant. When she said southern restaurant, I didn't know what she even meant. I was like, South wasn't a thing for me in my understanding. I was a junior about to be a senior. So we went to the spot, and the first thing I thought to myself when we went to the spot was that, damn, why it's so dirty in here? That's the first thing I thought to myself was, this is dirty. First of all, mind you, I'm coming from California, California, where you got letter grades in storefronts and shit like that. So in my mind, I was thinking, what is this?
Nah,
And I
you're
sat
not
there.
gonna get all that.
So it's funny because my definition of dirty was based on the understanding of what clean was, which was more superficial than reality. And I remember we went into this restaurant. It was me, about 4 other high school students, and our chaperone. And they told us, you gotta go up there and tell them what you want. They're gonna put it on your plate. I was like, what's this? Why? How come they're not serving us? Bring the food to our table. So I remember thinking to myself, and mind you, I was like 15 or 16, completely clueless. Went up there, and I was like, I want that. They put it on the plate. And first of all, the dude who put the stuff on the plate had a Jerry curl cap on,
Yeah,
a white beater. For those of you who are sensitive, a singlet. He had a singlet on with an apron on.
No. We're this is Ivy League Hood Rats. I know it's sensitivity there. We're not looking to offend anyone, and we don't endorse anything. But
in the hood, it's called a wife beater.
It's a wife beater. We don't. No. That's the word. That's the word for it. It's the word for it. It's a wife.
I'm sorry. Yeah, growing up, it was called a wife beater. So it was a white wife beater, and this joint had stains on it. And he was putting his food on the plate. And then I see he's putting food on the plate. I see the sweat dripping off his forehead. I'm thinking to myself, bro, how much of that sweat went on my plate? I don't even know.
Season.
Then at the same time we were standing there, he's like, you want dessert? I was like, I can't come back up for dessert? He's like, no, you gotta get it right now. And he had this thing called peach cobbler. And I was like, hold up. In my very Nigerian education, peach is a fruit and cobbler is a man who fixes your shoes. I was like, why would I want to eat peach and feet at the same time? I was confused. But he put it on the plate. I sat down, and I'll tell you right now, that meal was not a meal. It was a spiritual experience. Didn't nobody
Yeah, but
tell me what soul food was until that moment that I had some greens, I had some collard greens, I had some green peas. I had some honest. I want listen for those of you who know me about my Muslim background, but ham hocks. I was like, what the
oh,
hell is this,
what
bro?
is
I was
this?
like,
You was in heaven. It's
I
like,
was in heaven.
but it's a space. It is literally a space. And yeah, and the crazy thing is, you can be in soul food restaurants and you'll see white folks, Chinese folks, you'll see the ocean folks, you'll see Mexican folks, Korean folks. You'll see a little bit. If you're down south, like you're gonna see people together eating in soul food and barbecue restaurants, and it's a space. So yeah, that's a crazy story, man. Because I
Mm-mm.
always say, as Dr. Maya Angelou says, like, what's more intimate than preparing food to sit down and having a meal with folks. And I think, like, man, you just made me feel like that speaks home to me. Going to those type of places that are
Mm.
dingy, they're probably not gonna pass the food code, and getting smothered cabbage and getting smothered chicken and getting, oh my god, the cornbread.
Oh
That's
shit!
probably where I'm at now.
No, hold on. That cornbread. I was like, what is this? What is this? Yo, what?
It,
Listen, I remember I was 15. I broke that. I was at the. Okay, listen. I'm gonna full disclosure. I was at the NAACP convention in Nashville, Tennessee. The year was the summer was 1990. It was 1992, and I was like, "What is?" I had Archie. I had never heard of a cornbread in my life until I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and they gave me cornbread. I was like, "Why
I
is
mean,
corn in bread?" That was my
I mean,
ignorance. Why is corn in bread?
it's one of those where I always say, like, soul food is different across the American South, but it's a blend of so many different cultures, and it's definitely a West African element, a India element, a European element, South America. Like, it's a blend of a lot of different. You know, I always say, like, uh, ancestors got here and didn't have yams, and all they had was sweet potatoes. So black people now are we're about to have tomorrow Thanksgiving, like, yams at my house, but they ain't yams. It's sweet potatoes. But why are we eating sweet potato pie? Because yams was a big part of West African culture. But when they got here, they didn't have those. So we had sweet potatoes, and I think so. Food is one of those things, and I think definitely is a unifying agent for different groups of people. But I don't know. We got here off of that whole conversation around safety. Um,
Facts.
in safe spaces, and where uh, knowing that, again, wearing what you want to wear. And I think there's levels of appropriateness. But when people tell me that it's inappropriate to have on Jordans, why is it so appropriate to have on brogues in this situation? Right? So if in Texas people throw cowboy boots on instead of those brogues, like, why is it so important that I need to wear Oxfords in order to get your attention? Granted, if there's some crazy deal and I got, I'll do what I have to do. But I think my Jordans allowed me to stay deeply connected to who I am and what I value, and a feeling that I rather enjoy about myself and who I am. It's something that, again, I know you said people will say that, oh, you're giving to the coffers of Nike and all that. And I said, when people want to go down that route, I say, if you want to go down that route, that means we really can't do anything. Because all of these companies, if they're old, they got somehow wealthy or benefited off the transatlantic slave trade, whether they were insurance slaves, whether they were like Brooks Brothers that were selling clothes to enslaved folks, or Aetna, again, insurance slaves, or whether they used slave labor to build their colleges, the institutions, their houses, or roads, or like, or whether the banks gave loans, all these banks that people forget about gave loans to plantation owners to purchase more stuff. Like, you're not immune. So all of these businesses are foul, and even if we get out of the whole notion of what happened during the years of enslavement, the exploitation of labor, or the continued exploitation of labor, yeah, like somebody's always getting exploited. So if we go down that route, we'll be going down that route for eons. And I think somebody said to me, I remember at work, we can't keep putting out these crazy statements and doing these, hosting certain things to help people deal with the trauma of mass shootings, because we'll be doing it every day. We wouldn't be able to do our day jobs. And I don't know if that transitions us to, the mass shootings and what happened at Walmart and what happened at what is it, Club Q out in Colorado Springs, but we literally would be we're talking about this every day. So I'm reminded of, a friend is, people to talk about why, they live in Jamaica, live in Barbados or somewhere, and why won't you move to the States? Oh, it's not that I couldn't deal with the racism in the States, because it's pervasive. It's a normal part of our society to just be as sexist classes, be dividing, misogynistic, and violent. It's a normal part of society. It's not that people couldn't deal with the racism or the sexism or that type of stuff. It's the mass shootings. Like, y'all realize that people, like, these mass shootings, like, there's violence in Jamaica. Yep. There's violence in Nigeria. Yep. Shit happens. There's violence in Barbados. Shit happens. But people don't get killed in mass shootings at Walmart. Grandmothers don't get killed shopping for strawberry shortcake in Buffalo, or praying at Mother Emanuel Church, or just a theater full of people in Colorado get mowed down, in a movie theater, or, VTech school shooting, or you send your kid away to school to go play football, and you think you getting a call because he done hurt his leg or something like that. Oh, this boy done broke a leg. Oh, man, and old dudes, they can't wait to tell you how they toughed everything out. I break a leg, I just wrap it in some wrap, take a Tylenol and pour some water and cobweb on it. I was back in the game the next day. They love to tell you that, and they love to get directions. If you meet people from the 50s, and no, I'm not talking about old people and being, mean to old people, but men from the 50s, especially black men, love to be able to talk about the weather, and as well as they need to make sure they give you directions. They have to give you directions to stuff. Despite there being Google Maps and all this stuff, they have to give you directions. But it's hard to just do just regular stuff out with your kids, because I don't know about you, but I'm on Overwatch all the time. I'm on Overwatch.
You know what, fam? Hold up. Let's rewind a little bit, because I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be very, very honest and forthright with those who are watching right now. I did not know about what happened with the Walmart situation until literally late this afternoon. I was like, and I'll tell you how I found out. I'm going through social media. If anybody knows me, I'm always posting online and looking for content. And I was like, what is this? Another situation? So, and I'll be honest with you, it's almost to the point where I'm almost, not almost, I'll be honest with you, I'm desensitized. I'm gonna say facts. I'm desensitized to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, another one. And it hurts me because in my desensitivity, I know that the primary victims in situations like this, when I hear Walmart, I'm thinking about black folk as
Man, might not be
victims.
black folk. Might not
Okay.
be black folk at Walmart, but they're gonna be poor folks probably.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
poor
like,
folk. But the numbers over the course of situations in that kind of environment has been, and not overwhelmingly, but enough of the time. I'm like, okay, some other color, like Buffalo, New York. This shooting happened in Buffalo. You know, this gentleman, this I won't say gentleman, but this human being walked into that situation thinking my victims are going to be people of color. So
yeah,
when I heard about what happened, when I heard about it today, I was thinking to myself, ultimately, it's a good chance that the victims are going to be people of color. You know, and I'll be honest with you. Honestly, I heard about it. I didn't dig deep into it because I was just like, yo, I don't need this right now. I know I'm gonna dig deep into it at some point in time, but right now I just didn't need it. There's so much going on in my personal life for me to be like, damn, another situation that I gotta worry about. Like you said about being hyper vigilant. When I'm out in public with my children, everybody's suspect.
everybody's suspect.
Everybody's suspect.
Shit,
But the
sometimes I
sad part,
look him.
when I was a
Yeah,
child, everybody was a suspect. Everybody was a good person. And my question is, how do we get back to that where people are good people again? And maybe it's impossible. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the question is, but I know to my core it bothers me because at 46, in my mind, I'm thinking, if I go today, I'm good. I lived a decently full life. But with my children, I'm hyper protective because I'm like, y'all didn't have a chance yet. I have a daughter of four. I have a son who's about to be 3, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I keep them safe in a world where you could go shopping at Walmart and die?
yeah.
That's crazy.
I, I'm not sure if it's possible. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything is impossible, but I think that it's a symptom of something that we haven't diagnosed, or maybe people have diagnosed, and we don't want to pay attention to it. We don't want to pay attention to the signs of declining empire or whatever. But it's a sick. It is a symptom of something that is very very wrong, because that just doesn't happen in other places, or is so rare for it to happen that someone is really off of their rockers. Well, why do we have so many people that's off of their rockers, or they just get upset? The person who did that at Walmart was like one of the overnight managers or something like that. Like, just get upset and decide that, hey, this is how I'm going to resolve that, and then off themselves. It's when I told the story about um my friend laughing at me in Barbados after I got off of the bus. After I had held the baby girl. I think I told that a couple episodes back, where they laughed at me because I thought this lady was crazy for giving me her child. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. We're good.
Okay. Yeah, I thought she was crazy for giving me her child, and come to find out, culturally, oh, I'm a man. I'm supposed to help a woman, and it was nothing for her to fork over her kid, because she should be able to fork over her kid, and I should be able to assist. And I'm thinking that, hey, she didn't know whether I was crazy, a serial killer, whatever, murder, child molester, any of this, and they just was laughing because I'm imposing my American craziness, my illness, my sickness on folks that don't think about stuff in those sick terms. And now we have to add, if the
Nah,
world isn't stressful enough, right? If the world isn't stressful enough, now we have to add watching out for just random mass shootings. Like, I gotta watch out for too much. I gotta watch out for people that's upset with me. I gotta watch out for the black robber man. I gotta watch out for gangs. I gotta watch out for crooked police. I gotta watch to make sure. I gotta watch out for the Karens of the world. I gotta watch out for so much. Now I gotta just be on guard for randos. Like, I don't know how to resolve that. Like, is getting keeping a gun on me at all times gonna resolve that? You were in the Marines. If someone's popping off an M16 at you that's fully auto, you can squeeze that little 9 millimeter. You better be a perfect shot. My mom is a perfect shot. I'm not. She a country girl. She grew up out in the middle of Mississippi, so she could shoot perfect shot. My grandmother was ambidextrous, shoot with both hands, track stuff in the air. They country girls though. You had to shoot birds out there for meals. I'm not a perfect shot, right? But I'm not. You're not in a firefight if someone's sending down range 5.56 and 2.23 rounds
Facts.
from a 50 round drum, 100 round drum coming at you auto. Like you're not in a firefight pulling out. Like that's not a So we do have a problem that people are so gun crazy that like you feel like you need every gun. No, we don't need BAR saws, SKSs. We don't need like you don't need 100 round drums. You don't need high capacity magazines. I'm sorry. Right? And I'm a southerner. I'm about the Second Amendment, and I have my guns. But certain stuff you just don't need. You don't need a rocket launcher for what? Why do you need 100 round drum? Oh, it's for hunting. You really like? Do you really hunt with your AR-15? Maybe a few people, but like, no, you don't. You have your 30-30 rifle, or you have like, you really not hunting 30-06. What you're not hunting with no doggone AR-15. It's fun. It's a sport, something, right? If you got a ranch, you can use it for home defense. I mean, you can use it for defense. But if you ain't hit it in the first couple rounds, that means you're a terrible shot. Right? You don't need a
Facts.
100 round drum.
That's
And for
facts. That's
people in the
facts.
city, you're much more likely to shoot through a wall and kill somebody you love. A good old shotgun, I'm not going to endorse a brand, a good old shotgun to get the job done for home defense, as well as a handgun to safe with your fingerprint on it for home defense. Because if you got an AR-15 and you round a corner and someone who knows what they're doing gets a hold of your barrel, or if you got it strapped around you, and they get a hold of your strap, just like football pads, you're gonna go wherever I choose to take you, and you're
Exactly.
rendered ineffective. So, but people don't want to talk about that. They just want to go ahead and get the 100 round drum and just start spraying indiscriminately. Like we just don't need all of that. And when people hear me talking about like, oh, I'm moving, like I'm retiring, moving to Barbados, because I don't want to be dodging bullets like that. I want my kids to dodge bullets. I don't want them to have to dodge bullets from police shooting wildly either. Right? The police don't need guns there because everybody's not gun crazy, and like I can just be. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't got to be rich, but like I'm not dodging bullets, and yeah, I can trade off a few American luxuries to do something different because yeah, I can't. Yeah, bro. Like me, like I can come to New York and me and you just be out. Hey, we finna go see catch a show and go shoot some pool, and hey, somebody just coming in with the whole thing up. We gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nah.
and we ain't
No.
we ain't
Nah.
had no beef with nobody.
It's crazy because I have a friend of mine who recently, very recently, went out happy hour, stayed out late, and went to a chicken spot. Chicken spot. Just to get some food. And guess what happened? Somebody walked in and started spraying. But they got beef with somebody. So it's that instantaneous that you could just be in a space just to get some food, and then you're caught up in the crossfire.
So I don't know how we resolve that level of stress. But what I will say is if folks are experiencing stress, like definitely figure out how to alleviate some of that. If you need to talk with someone, see a therapist. If you need to figure out an activity, like again, I always say, like take care, like if you're gonna choose to continue to go down the path that we're going down, right, which is as Brother Malcolm said, he described it. You go to the dentist, you got a toothache, and they give you some Novocaine. In famous speech, he gives you some Novocaine. I think it's what was the speech? I can't think of it right now, but you use a Novocaine on your tooth, on your jaw, and they're in there working, and you can't feel it. So you still suffering. You just suffering peacefully, and silently. So if we're gonna stay in this and choose to continue to suffer peacefully, right? At the very least, take care of yourself, right? Because you asked
Facts.
me what when we get to that point of like, what do we do? Remember, you asked me that a couple of weeks ago about the rights versus privileges. So what do we do? And I said, if we're gonna stay in it, stay in it. Like I'm in it right now, so I'm a glutton for punishment. If we're gonna stay in it, enjoy your privileges while you have them. If you're gonna stay in it, try and make sure you take care of yourself physically and mentally because it's another stressor that we're gonna have to deal with, and it's not going away. It's not. It is not. It is a symptom of some larger illness or evil that we are failing to address as a society, and it is pervasive. It is poor people. It is people with money. It is
Mm.
black people, white people, Asian people. It's people of all kinds that are doing the killing, and they're killing grandmothers, children, men, women. It doesn't matter. So no one's off limits. The Uvalde children, that's just what Matthew McConaughey said. They couldn't show the pictures of the bodies because I knew why they couldn't show it.
Wow.
Those AR-15 shots would have just been devastating. No one's off limits. So it's a new stress that we're going to have to deal with if we're choosing to stay in this context. We have to deal with that. Everyone, and people will have to deal with best they can, but don't suffer and not try and get help, have conversations. If it just helps being here talking it out, if this is a helpful for someone or blessing someone, hopefully it will be. But it's a symptom of something else, and I don't know what attention people are trying to get. Um, I don't know if the devil is just working overtime. I don't know if it's showing that our empire, well, I don't want to say our empire, their empire is in decline. Um, Rome imploded from most empires implode from inside. Internal strife. That's the word I'm looking for. Internal strife is how most empires implode. Not that some invading force comes and knocks us off of something. It's internal strife, Handmaid's Tale,
Facts.
Gilead type stuff, right? Supreme Court already doing a bunch of that stuff anyway. So it's additional stresses that we're gonna have to live with if we're choosing to stay in the game. And again, I said that a couple episodes back where I read that article and people were shocked about like, oh, they're over in Dubai and a woman can lose her diamond engagement ring and the police will literally track her down to give her ring back because somebody turned it in because it's virtually no crime. But we look down on other ways of life. Oh, you don't have the same set of privileges that you might have here. Ooh, I'm so free. I'm so free that I can't go to the movie theater, the church, the grocery store, Walmart, Walgreens, to school, to work, to deliver a package at FedEx, walk down the street, walk my dog, go to the pool, go to the movies, get on the train. I can't do any of that stuff without being terrified that I'm going to be shot by somebody. But yet I'm willing to look at other places and say, their way of life is so ass backwards. It's different. It's different,
Yeah.
right? But is it really up to Western countries with their track record to truly be the true moral compass? Just from a black guy's perspective, coming from my family, that real live enslaved folks that worked plantations and were sharecroppers and people still dealing with struggling with poverty. I'm not really sure if Western countries should be the moral compass of what the standard is for rights and or privileges of citizens, especially if we can't do any of those things without being terrified. And that doesn't have anything to do with race, sex, or class. Everyone's terrified to do regular stuff.
Yeah.
But yet we would look down and say, oh my God, these people over here are so backwards. Really? Are they so backwards? Because they can go down to the market and get some fish. and
Wow.
yams, and they don't think they're gonna get shot at the market, and it's probably right. So I'll stop there, my brother, because I know we're over time, and I appreciate a captive audience. We
Yeah,
made it.
yeah, it's funny because I didn't want to stop you because I was like, yo, you spinning jewels right now, and I think if you're listening right now, if you're listening right now, you stayed on. It's because there are things that are being said that you can connect to wholly. Even myself as an African who has adopted Americanness, because I'm be honest with you, I'm still trying to define what my identity is in this grand scheme of things. I'm African born.
I would say it, but I'm not gonna do it.
No, no. What is it? No, listen. I'm trying to find it. But if,
Nope,
I'll be honest with you. I have a problem with saying African American.
nope. I'm not gonna do it. When I introduce you at your retirement dinner, you know it.
Bro, that's yo, bro. You listen. I'm gonna be like 116 years old. I'm not retiring anytime soon, bro.
Well, I guess we're just gonna be some 116. I'll be 120. Like we're gonna be some 116. I guess that's what we gonna be, brother.
All right. Listen, I'll be patient
Long,
then.
I hope. Hopefully, we
But
have a long life, many grandkids, man.
no, no, yo, respect, and I definitely pray to Chuku, to God, that that is the reality. But everything you're saying it's interesting because so if you're watching, you notice I tend to be quiet when Archie's speaking because I'm learning, and I'll tell you why I'm learning. But if we were both in Nigeria right now, I could be like, yo, Archie, peep this. But the thing is this: I am a foreigner in this land, and because of the fact that I came here in 1982. I came here in 1982, and I've been learning. I'm 46 years old now. I've been learning this whole entire time, and there are moments in time where I notice things. And I'm just like, wow, this is not something I can speak on because of my background is very different from the typical or what's the normal identified African American. And there's a lot of spaces and a lot of things where it's just all I can say is I'm learning. I'm learning because there are times where I have to like literally ask myself, what am I experiencing right now? Because I'm not experiencing things as just an African. I'm experiencing things as a black person in America. And when it comes to those spaces, there is no discrimination. There's no difference. There's no you're African or you're American. No, it's just that my skin tone is seen first before anything else. And in those spaces, I gotta be very cautious. I think I shared this in I think the last podcast or the one before that. Early morning, I walk into CVS, my hoodie comes down, I gotta put a smile on at 3 o'clock at 4 o'clock in the morning at a 24-hour CVS because I need them to understand I'm not a threat. I'm not here to do anything other than buying cough medicine for myself and for my kids because we got the flu or COVID or whatever it might be at that moment in time. So it's always this space of just like always fighting just to survive. But that's another man. It's so many layers right now. But I would say this though, it is down 11:09, and mind you, folks, this conversation started off over sneakers. It's funny because, and I gotta say this, and Archie, feel free to jump in. We started this conversation about these. This is what we started off talking about these, but look at how far we went. We went so much deeper because we're not allowed to just enjoy those. There's so many layers into just the fact of being an American and surviving, and just understanding how we have to be and how we have to exist in certain spaces. We talked about Walmart. Like, I don't know, it's crazy. You could walk into a grocery store and be done just
Yeah.
because you walked into a grocery store. How crazy is that? You know,
But
but
if I gotta be done, I'd rather have a clean ass pair of J's on. if I gotta go out, remember me, baller. Like I'd rather have a clean pair of J's on if I
I hear
gotta
that.
go out. Why? Because again, something about just a crispy pair of J's. It's a feeling that you get. It just makes you feel it just makes you feel better. It's like when you hear that song, that's your song.
That's
That
facts.
it just makes you feel better. Yeah, we started out with the shoes, but I think the shoes are it's
Symbolic.
it's an extension. I mean, yeah, it's symbolic and just an extension of a culture that had to carve something. You really had to squeeze a dollar out of a dime, and you ain't have a cent, and you had to carve something to feel good about. And Jays were a sense of peacock. It was peacocking, just straight up
Yeah.
and down. And we needed that to survive. We need to laugh to keep from crying. It's a survival strategy. So a new pair of J's, if I can
Facts.
make myself feel good, yeah, it might be a drug, it might be an addiction. If I can make myself feel good for a few moments, because this feeling I get when I got those on, and you get that head nod when you start getting it, because like the head nod down, that's just an acknowledgement, but the head nod up, that means I know you, I see you, right? And you see just the random cats be hear you with the oh yeah yeah yeah, like I ain't just gonna down you like oh yeah what's going on, like I'm just acknowledge I don't just acknowledge you. Well, oh, I throw it up like, oh yeah, I see you. When I jumped in your car. Well, I don't know where we were going to that spot in the Bronx. Well, I got way too drunk that night. Salsa merengue spot, and we'll stop
Salsa
there.
con fuego.
Right, we'll stop there. But I think I had what did I had on those sapphire J's? Ooh.
Yeah,
I hopped in the car.
yeah.
Your partner was like, "I see it." As soon as I walk in, somebody like, "Ooh, I see him." Right? It's a feeling, and yeah, I choose to not shy away from it. I choose to lean into it. I lean into who I am, like, and I'm unapologetic about that. Love y'all, people. I know we got to wrap up, but
Yeah.
uh, um, we didn't even get on Yay tonight. Yay! Even though this food continues to
Listen.
go
Next,
wild,
next,
but
next Wednesday we
we'll
got we
get
got to
it.
talk about Ye. We got to talk about Ye because it's funny because a lot of people were looking at him like, yo, he like they were saying he fucked up, but I'm like,
We gotta do
but
this
did
another
he?
night.
But
Next
did he?
Wednesday, I'm gonna be in Jamaica.
Yeah, you can't be on a Jamaica from Jamaica, bro. You got to enjoy Jamaica.
If I'm on
So
in Jamaica, it's gonna be bad.
yeah. So
But
listen. Right now, next week we might still have Ivy League
actually,
Hood Rats. May just might be a solo show, but the next time we jump
I
back
might,
on it,
I might,
we got.
I
Listen,
might call in, bro. I might call in.
yeah, that white. Listen, you honestly you have no excuse. I'll tell you this: Jamaica and New York is about the same time zone. Number
I might
two,
call in.
they got Wi-Fi. They do
Yeah,
got
I might
Wi-Fi.
call in. It
Okay,
might be. It
listen.
might be a big. It might be a quick. Listen, tell your friends and your friends be here next week, because there might you might get who I really be. Right?
Listen,
You
I'm
might get
nervous. Listen, I'm nervous
A
now.
T yo, a cool manhood spot.
Listen,
Yo,
I'm gonna
y'all,
be like, yo,
yeah.
I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, Archie, Wagwan.
I'm talking about it's going down, man. It might be summer 13. Oh, yeah, on that
Listen,
note, we gonna stop. I
yeah,
said it might be
yeah, for
summer
sure, for sure, for
13.
sure. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening. I appreciate y'all. Hey, listen, this is the Ivy League Hood Rats. We're gonna speak on what's on topic, what's might not necessarily be on topic. We're gonna speak our minds. So if you join us on Wednesdays at 10 p.m., it's because you just want to hear what we gotta say. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening. Catch me on Friday at 10 p.m. for Teacher Therapy Fridays, and then on Sundays for Let's Talk About Education. With that being said, thank you so much. Have a good night. Be well. Be peaceful. And my brothers and sisters, be safe. When you're out there in public, keep your heads on the swivel. You know what I'm saying? That person that might seem suspect, guess what? They are suspect. Protect yourselves. Take care of your families. And with that being said, be well. Peace, y'all. Brother Archie, any last words?
Man, be peaceful. Be courteous. Obey the law. Respect everyone. If somebody put their hands on you, hey, I'm not mad if you had to send them to the cemetery. Be safe, be well out there. That's not an Archie quote. That's Brother Malcolm.
Facts.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.